Okay, American Idol fans, we know the top 10 of season 17. And for the most part, I think we all agree that this is a very strong 10 group of 10 people. My name is Marcus James Dixon. I'm here with Denton Davidson and Susan Wloszczyna. And Denton, I'm going to come to you first. Of the four that went home, we had Evelyn go home, Ashley, Eddie, Island, and Riley. What one shocked you the most?
I don't think any of them shocked me. I sort of thought that Luke was going to save Riley, being that she's country. And I think he would have. I think he was considering it, but she had such a bad performance. And like she just kind of flubbed her performance on Monday. So I think that really hurt her. And I mean, I was a little surprised Ashley went, but I wouldn't go as far to say I was shocked.
Yeah. And what about you, Susan?
Well, the one who didn't surprise me was Eddie Island, because no one should do Benny and the Jets. I mean, he shouted every note. It wasn't even singing at some point. I mean, I don't know what it was, but the thing that drives me crazy is this is a time period when somebody tells them, try something different because, you know, the people are voting. And so then you have, you know, Alejandro doing his beat machine and Uche dancing like he's in a Vegas act. And you know, it goes crazy off the rails a little bit, I think. And I think, but what was the question?
my issue with Eddie was that the judges critiqued him and basically said, oh, that was not the right song. You should have done a different song. But they should have critiqued him and said, you did not hit any of the notes in the entire song. Yeah. The entire thing was off pitch, off key. And I think the judges are just too nice. They need to actually hit these people a little bit harder. This is the top 10 now.
Yeah. I think they're coddling the contestants way too much. Even, I mean, I don't want to like go way off base, but like when Lionel saved Uche and made this big dramatic thing and like, this is an entertainer. And they make it's like they're gaslighting the audience. Like, you can't see it, but it's like, no, I know the difference between Uche and Prince. Like, he stood there he was in a bedazzled denim shirt singing poorly. Like, I know what I see, and we're not missing something. I'm more surprised at Lionel. I think Luke and Katy flourished in an era of average singers, but Lionel has been around the great singers. And when he starts comparing people willy-nilly to Freddie Mercury and Elton John, it's surprising to me.
Susan, were you surprised Uche made it through?
Yeah, but I think he damned him calling him an entertainer, okay? And he even said himself, I'm not the best singer, in his, little speech before he performed, but I go, then why are you here? I mean, why are you subjecting me to you?
Multiple judges repeatedly said last night, we're trying to find an idol. It's not a singing competition. Yeah. It's like, no, it is a singing competition. Yeah. Like, they really should be good singers. And that's what, like, the old American Idol would pluck sort of people out of obscurity that were great singers, and then they kind of created a star. And it's like, now they're just trying to find a star, but they're not. The singing is suffering for it.
Right.
Of the four that went home, I guess I was most surprised about Ashley, but I mean, it's just, who do you take out of the top 10 to replace with Ashley? I think the 10 is so strong that I don't know. Maybe I would just create an 11th place for Ashley and just say, okay, it's a top 11 this year. But I'm happy with the 10 overall. I think there's some really, really strong ones and there's some weaker ones, but they're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Ashley would have replaced Alyssa, I wouldn't have been surprised. I mean, I think there's like 5 or 6 that are solid, and there's sort of people wavering after that.
Well, yeah. Alyssa did one very smart thing. After she sang Katy Perry's song, how could she not save her? Okay? Right. people would be hating on her like there was no tomorrow.
That was good. Even Bobby Bones was trying to make the case for Riley, but I'm like, I think Alyssa's got it because she has the comeback kid story, which also, Lane does as well. But she's been Katy's favorite since the beginning. Remember in the audition this year, the guys blindfolded Katy and she recognized Alyssa's voice. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, okay, if we had to pick a winner right now, I'm going with Alejandro. I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he's the safe bet at this early stage. Susan, who do you think is the winner and why?
Well, I'm going to say Alejandro too, but the person who's impressing me more is Walker, because I thought, oh my God, he's really singing a song from The Sound of Music. What kid would vote for that? But he sold it. And I think, that is incredible. He just got by votes. He didn't need the judges. So people like him out there. And of the 2 round glasses guys, I mean, he's the one that kind of really has the stuff. So
the Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Denton, who do you think is going to win?
I actually bumped Alejandro down. And right now I have Lane, and I agree that Walker is a threat. I think Alejandro is hitting this. I mean, he was the front runner so long, and his performance are starting to sound the same. And he also has this very humble personality, which is nice, but it's almost like he doesn't care. I mean, there's people there that are like dying to win, and he doesn't seem like one of them. And I think that hurts him in the long run. And I don't know if his performances are going to be diverse enough to excite people week after week after week. So he definitely can still win, but I think he's in more trouble than I used to.
He's very niche. Like his type of music, it may not sell a lot of records, you know what I mean? But if you look at the comments that pour in at Gold Derby and other websites, all of the comments are about how great Alejandro is. And it's really, really making me think about whether, maybe he will win. I mean, there's never been a winner like him before. We have seen winners like Lane. We've seen a lot of winners like Lane, which is why I think you could be right that he could do it.
Well, at least he took off his hat. He hasn't really changed his fashion sense, if he has any. But yeah, he's comfortable in what he's doing. I still don't think the Beat Machine was such a great idea, but it didn't do any harm. So whatever.
Susan, I think we're losing your visual. I think the sun's coming in right there.
Sorry.
It's like you're glowing.
Hold on.
Okay.
I agree. Alejandro is definitely the most musically talented. I mean, I didn't even know he played the piano that well, like he did on the results show. I mean, that was surprising. I knew he could play, and I knew he was amazing on the guitar. But the most talented very often does not win. And when you're talking about sort of getting the most mainstream appeal, it's not always the most exciting to a lot of people. It's like Best Picture at the Oscars. It's like, who does everyone agree to hate the least? So I mean, I don't know.
Susan, what you wrote something about Elton John today. Who does Elton John want to win?
Elton John wanted Jeremiah, and I think he sang the best these 2 nights.
Yeah,
I do, and he picked just the right Elton John song. God help him if he had to sing Benny and the Jets. But it's a 1975 song, but it wasn't a single or anything, but it was a perfect song for matching what his story is even. And I think Sir Elton kind of related to his situation. And I think, I mean, when Elton John, I can't believe Elton John goes on Instagram to talk about American Idol. It's kind of mind-blowing.
two of the contestants we haven't talked about, Lacey K. Booth and Madison Vandenberg. I think they're fantastic. I think they could make it to top 6. But I do wonder if this is the men's season. Are we going to have like a final 4 that's all boys?
I think one of those 2 women will sneak in. I think the boys are eventually going to start eating each other. And I agree. I had Lacey in 2nd place in my rankings last week, and I dropped her. I thought her Monday performance was not good. And I think I agree with Susan that Jeremiah won the week. I mean, he had the best combination of 2 performances. And then I think Madison also was very consistent with both performances. I liked Lacey's Blink-182 cover. I did not care for her song on Monday.
And then Wade Coda, who wants to talk about Wade. His voice is so interesting. And I loved his in his pre-packaged video, he said, some people think I'm faking my voice, but I'm not. Like, I've sung metal my whole life and I've ruined my voice. And now I just love the way he sounds. I don't know if he's going to be a finalist, though.
Well, there is a Disney week. He'll have to choose carefully.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's got an interesting voice, but he's another one who I felt was a front runner when we were learning who people were, because he was talked about a lot. But he fades a little on stage. But that could change over the weeks. But I think he's sort of fallen in the ranks a little bit in my eyes. And Disney Week is this coming week, so it'll be interesting to see who performs, or if Uche dresses up like Sebastian, or you never know what could happen.
I'm worried about Demetrius. He was not in the top 7, and Luke had to save him. But I don't know. I think he can make it at least one more week. I think his Save Me song was really great. That's the best he's been all season. If he keeps doing that, he could squeak by.
There's a sadness about him, and if I grew up in Baltimore, I would probably feel sad. There's some hard places there, and it's funny because Jeremiah grew up in sort of the same area, and there are 2 different stories like that. It's interesting, but go ahead.
Demetrius to me is just vocally not consistent. Like, he can be really good, and then the next song he's like, something's off. And he also, I think people don't relate to his style, like, because he's just not really in any specific genre. He's a little all over the place. So I don't know if he's developing a fan base at the pace that the others are. So I think he definitely could go home pretty soon.
Well, let's talk about who we think is going home. If we're under the impression 2 are going home on Disney night, Denton, which 2 do you have? And you guys at home, you can go to goldderby.com and make your predictions, which 2 you think are going home this week.
This is hard because now we have to start predicting who is going to go home before we see their performances, because it's live voting. So I'm going to default to 2 out of the bottom 3 we've already seen. And I think Demetrius struggles to get the excitement back from people. And then, I'm probably going to go with Alyssa, just because I feel like, even though you don't think Uche and Disney together, I feel like they're going to have some sort of huge production that'll be enough to carry him along. So I feel like Uche's got another week in him.
With Disney, I think he's showy, and that's
like
a cartoon character himself, the most one like that. So I actually think he'll do well next week. But I agree. I think Demetrius, I don't see him singing Whistle While You Work or something. I don't know. That's not his bag. He sings serious. And also he sings opera, but do you get opera from his voice? I don't know.
Yeah. Ryan did say that, right? That
he's studied opera. Yeah.
He began, like, his top 20 performance, I think, his solo performance, he started singing opera in the first, for the first few seconds, and then he switched into it. But he's not exactly Pavarotti.
Right. Well, who is? But
Susan, did you name your two already?
Oh, I agree. I think it's Demetrius and Raghu because I think Katy did her a solid getting her to Disney Week, and she might be good with that. You know, she has a pop voice, and she could probably do if she picked the right song. I think,
Yeah.
but I'm. She's always trying too hard, a little bit. You know, I just feel like she's always begging to, you know, get Katie's approval a little bit, and it's enough already.
I think she'll do a Disney ballad too, and I'm tired of her singing ballads. I think she's a fun pop star, and I liked it when she was doing the up-tempo dance music,
Yeah.
and that's what she's best at. So if she comes out and sings Colors of the Wind, like I'm bored and I don't want to see it.
She's
I
told,
mean,
or she's going to do a whole new world or something like that.
Yeah.
well, they got all those, you know, repackaged live action films now, so they're probably going to have to pick from those.
Well, I think,
Lion King.
I think you guys are right. I think it's Alyssa and Demetrius. It is hard, you know, to pick without seeing what songs they're singing, but then again, America will be voting like live throughout the episode. So if someone performs late, they can still get votes from earlier on. It's just the bigger the fan base you have at this point, the better you are in the competition. And we know for a fact that Demetrius, Uche, and Alyssa just don't have the fan bases. So I think it's going to be two of those three.
And they should hope to go early in the show then, because
Yeah,
they're not going to gain any favors going last.
right. Well, any final thoughts here on top 10 week of American Idol?
I'm glad it's on one night.
Yeah.
It's getting too stretched out, but yeah, it's getting better just because the right people have been mostly going home, I think.
Yeah, I think America got it right this week.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's it should be a good week, and I think it'll be a good top 10. I'm looking forward to see what they do.